Area Agency on Aging is hosting a public hearing this month about the agency's 4-year plan for 2026 through 2029. The agency covers a total of 20 counties in northwest Iowa. The meeting will be held on Zoom, so you can take part. You can watch and you can listen from home. It's Thursday, May 29th. The meeting starts at 2 p.m. Staff will address the areas of focus, target population, new services they want to begin, and declare any services the agency wants to conduct on their own or contract out. The hearing also serves as a way to connect with people and their family members who might benefit from these services. They want to help bridge the gaps between the services.
They can learn a lot about what we do, and there might be a lane in their own lives, in their own families, where we can be helpful. And then also just to make sure that they think that we're on the right track. We want to make sure that we're doing the best good.
To register in advance to be part of that conversation, check out this story at KTIV.com.